I want to start by saying that June the 1st is more than just a date on the calendar for the Las Vegas Raiders. It is the day when the NFL's roster rules demand tough decisions. And for a player like Thayer Munford, it could mark the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. When you think about what it means to be an offensive lineman fighting for a job in this league, you have to acknowledge that every practice rep, every drill, and every snap counts. So when Munford was conspicuously absent from practice drills last week and the team offered no explanation, alarm bells naturally began to ring among the faithful in silver and black territory. The phrase odd man out rarely bodes well for a veteran on the fringe of the roster, and if you combine that label with a need to maximize practice time and an undisclosed reason for missing sessions, the simplest conclusion is that both player and team are eyeing a clean break once the calendar flips to June. Munford's journey to this precarious position began in the spring of 2022 when the Raiders used a 7th-round selection on the Ohio State product. In most cases, a 7th-round pick already faces an uphill climb. Add to that 3 different head coaches and no fewer than 4 offensive line coaches over the past 3 seasons, and you have a recipe for instability that any young blocker would struggle to overcome. Different schemes, different terminology, different expectations. Every time the staff changes, the film you studied in year 1 can suddenly feel obsolete in year 2. When you're battling to make an impression in a league where even first-rounders demand patience, being a late-round prospect with a revolving door of position coaches is about as big a handicap as you can imagine. Off the field, Munford enters the final year of his rookie contract, and from the Raiders' perspective, cutting or trading him. After June 1st yields a modest cap savings of roughly $1.1 million, with only $24,000 in dead money lingering on the books. It may not be a blockbuster number, but when the margins are slim and every dollar matters, that kind of financial flexibility can influence roster moves, especially for a team that aspires to contend and cannot afford dead-weight contracts in a tight cap environment. From Munford's standpoint, asking for his release could be an equally smart play. Why remain on the bottom rung of a depth chart when you can hit free agency immediately after the deadline, shop yourself to teams in need of a veteran blocker, and potentially secure a spot on a roster before mandatory minicamps kick off? And if you were in his cleats, wouldn't you want the chance to pick your landing spot rather than endure a slow fade into the background? Positionally, Munford offers versatility. He has worked at both tackle spots and even served as the extra body on heavy packages. But in a year of roster turnover, that versatility becomes a double-edged sword. The Raiders have invested significant resources in Alex Kappa, handing him a 2-year, $11 million deal with the intent of plugging him in at right guard, and they have a crowded interior battle featuring Jordan Meredith and Dylan Parham vying for the other guard slot. Meanwhile, left tackle Colton Miller and right tackle DJ Glaze appear firmly entrenched at the bookends. When you pencil in Caleb Rogers and Charles Grant, 2 high-ceiling rookies poised to develop behind veteran starters, you realize that Munford's window to carve out a niche is closing, especially when those draft investments carry more weight. In the front office's long-term plans, adding to the pressure is the presence of Lockie Tossie, the Raiders' international pathway lineman, who has already seen time as a 5th or 6th blocker in jumbo sets. If Munford's primary value to this team has been as an extra body in power formations, then the coaching staff can duplicate that role with a younger, cheaper option who is unencumbered by the expectations of a veteran salary. In a league that prizes youth and potential upside, the allure of a player who can grow alongside the team often outweighs the comfort of a known commodity. Munford may have to contend not only with seasoned veterans, but with developmental prospects who have every bit as much to prove, and crucially more time to prove it. On the field, the statistical picture is mixed. As a rookie, Munford logged 369 snaps with an overall grade around the low 60s, according to the analytics site Pro Football Focus, showing flashes of competence, but also allowing multiple pressures and a sack. The following season, under an offensive line coach now presumed to be among the best developers in the business, he improved to a mid-70s grade over 520 snaps. But injuries and inconsistency crept in. and his impact on the run and pass. Protection metrics waned late in the year. If the numbers tell us anything, it is that Munford has the raw tools to be a contributor. But he has yet to show the sustained performance that convinces a rebuilding team to bank on his progression, especially when draft capital and younger players beckon. At this point, Munford's situation feels like a crossroads where both sides see limited upside in prolonging the relationship. The Raiders would prefer to allocate reps to their own draft picks and keep their books lean, while Munford could pursue a fresh start with a roster that values his experience and versatility. Teams like New England, where Josh McDaniels once called the shots, or Tennessee, where talent evaluators played a role in his selection, might view him as a reclamation project. Likewise, franchises whose offensive line coaches cross paths with his background at Ohio State, Arizona, Baltimore, Seattle could be intrigued by a low-risk addition. But the most likely outcome remains that the Raiders part ways, allowing Munford to seek a home where the depth chart offers clearer opportunity. As we approach that pivotal deadline, the silver and black faithful will be watching closely. Will Thayer Munford rejoin the huddle in Sin City this fall? Or will he be donning a new helmet come training camp? If the trends persist, the missed practice time, the cap considerations, the influx of younger blockers, it seems probable that this chapter ends in separation. Yet in a league built on second chances, I would not bet against Munford finding a new opportunity quickly. His story may not conclude with the Raiders, but the next act could yet define him as the reliable, versatile lineman scouts once dreamed he could become. Meanwhile, as the calendar flips past June 1st and the dust settles on roster cuts, Munford's career trajectory will hinge on how quickly he can capitalize on interest from other clubs. Imagine him arriving at a new facility in mid-July, diving into install meetings with a fresh offensive line coach who believes in his blend of size, footwork, and versatility. In that scenario, Munford is no longer the 7th round afterthought, fighting for reps. He becomes a reclamation project with something to prove, a veteran presence who can mentor younger linemen while competing for a starting role or key backup job. The difference between being the odd man out and being the last man in often boils down to perception and opportunity, and a change of scenery can rewrite that narrative overnight. On the flip side, if Munford remains unsigned into training camp, he risks fading into the background, rehearsing the same 6-week audition at multiple team facilities without the security of a roster spot. In today's NFL, being unsigned in August can easily translate to watching kickoff from home, as teams lock up their final depth charts and focus on chemistry with players already under contract. His best chance, therefore, lies in finding a situation where injuries or scheme fits align, where a sudden vacancy on the right tackle depth chart or a guard spot could thrust him into live game action by week 1. For example, a team that experiences an off-season mishap, say a veteran guard needing surgery or a rookie tackle struggling mentally, might tap Munford mid-August to fill the void. That kind of reactive signing happens every year. And for a player like Munford with experience at multiple line positions, being next on the call sheet could keep his NFL dream alive. But beyond on-field considerations, Munford's situation also involves the human element, moving cities, learning a new playbook, earning trust in a new locker room. There is an emotional toll when a player parts ways with the organization that drafted him, especially one like the Raiders that values loyalty in its fan base. Yet many players have navigated this path successfully, finding renewed purpose in environments that play to their strengths. Whether that means anchoring a zone blocking scheme, learning a power run system, or embracing a purely reserved role to bolster depth. How Munford handles that transition, his attitude at summer workouts, his film study habits, his rapport with teammates will be under the microscope, and positive culture fit could be the deciding factor in whether he ultimately sticks on. A week 1 roster, from the Raiders' vantage point, cutting Munford also frees up marginal resources for mid-season signings and practice squad elevations. If a starter goes down in September, the team might prefer to elevate a younger, cheaper guard from the practice squad rather than revisit a veteran who was part of the summer discard pile. That dynamic underscores why teams rarely circle back to ex-roster cut players unless circumstances demand it. In that respect, Munford's best window to make an impression may be during OTAs or rookie minicamp visits rather than waiting for injuries to dictate his fate. A strong showing at a rookie camp, one-on-one drills against starting edge rushers, quick adjustments to a new scheme could convince a coaching staff that he deserves more than a mere tryout later in the season. Looking ahead, Munford might also consider alternative paths such as the practice squad route. If he clears waivers after being cut, some teams could sign him to their practice squad, offering a week-to-week lifeline with the potential to be elevated on a game day roster. That path keeps him in the building, familiar with a team's terminology and expectations, and positions him for call-ups when injuries strike. Practice squads today function as developmental rosters more than ever, with veteran players vying for those slots alongside rookies, and Munford's experience at tackle and guard makes him a valuable multi-purpose asset in such a role. Ultimately, Munford's second act will depend on a combination of timing, fit, and resilience. He has already demonstrated the physical tools and work ethic needed to compete at this level. Now he must navigate the business side of the league with the same determination he showed in college and early in his pro career. Whether he lands in New England's complex scheme, Tennessee's zone blocking system, or another environment that aligns with his strengths, the next few weeks will define whether he cements himself as a starting caliber tackle, a reliable swing lineman, or a cautionary tale of what happens when opportunity and roster moves collide. As fans, we'll be watching free agent moves and camp battles, curious to see where Munford signs and how quickly he assimilates. Will he emerge as a forgotten sixth lineman suddenly called upon in a critical Week 3 matchup? Will he find a home on someone's practice squad, waiting for the call when injuries strike? Or will he pivot toward other football avenues, a coaching internship, a developmental role, or even exploring leagues outside the NFL to showcase his talents? The journey from being cut on June 1st to potentially starting by September is neither linear nor guaranteed. But if there's one thing that defines Thayer Munford, it's perseverance. And in a league built on second chances and sudden opportunities, perseverance often translates to new beginnings. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Las Vegas Raiders. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In a stunning development that has sent ripples through the NFL community, rumors are swirling that the Las Vegas Raiders are on the verge of making a blockbuster move by signing two dynamic quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson and Jayden Daniels. While nothing has been officially confirmed yet, insiders suggest that the Raiders are aggressively pursuing these marquee names as part of a bold strategy to revamp their offense and solidify their standing in the highly competitive AFC West LAMAR. Jackson, known for his electrifying playmaking ability and MVP caliber performances, has been a subject of speculation ever since trade talks began heating up earlier this offseason. His unique dual-threat style of play could bring a new level of excitement and unpredictability to the Raiders' offense, something the team has desperately sought after in recent years. The possibility of Jackson joining the Raiders has sparked intense debate among fans and analysts alike, with many wondering how the team's coaching staff plans to integrate his skill set into their current game plan. Adding to the buzz is the potential signing of Jayden Daniels, a promising young talent whose college career showcased a blend of poise and athleticism that NFL teams covet. Daniels represents a high upside investment, and pairing him with a seasoned star like Jackson could give the Raiders a dynamic quarterback duo that few teams can match. This rumored tandem hints at the Raiders' willingness to experiment and build a future-proof roster, blending established excellence with emerging potential. Speculation also points to the Raiders' front office making a significant financial commitment to secure these quarterbacks, which signals their determination to push for a playoff berth in the upcoming season. If these rumors hold true, the Raiders would not only transform their quarterback room, but also send a clear message to the rest of the league about their championship ambitions. Of course, signing two quarterbacks of this caliber simultaneously would present unique challenges in terms of managing playing time and team chemistry. Questions arise about how the coaching staff will handle such a situation and whether one will inevitably emerge as the franchise's clear leader. Fans are eagerly waiting for more concrete information, while analysts debate the strategic implications and potential risks involved. As the offseason unfolds, the Raiders' rumored pursuit of Lamar Jackson and Jayden Daniels is shaping up to be one of the most captivating storylines in the NFL. Whether this bold gamble will pay off remains to be seen, but one thing is certain: the Raiders are signaling a new era of ambition and excitement, and the football world is watching closely. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Las Vegas Raiders, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.